Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla and I'm going to show you how to make a very simple net worth tracker using Google Sheets. I do have a net worth tracker available on my Etsy shop, so it is a little bit more in depth, but nothing too crazy. I like to keep my spreadsheets that I share with others very simple because that's how I use things and that's how I comprehend things better. I don't like too much going on with my spreadsheets. So you can definitely check that out. It's very affordable and you can customize it if you would like to. But if you want to get a little bit more practice with Google Sheets or just make your own net worth tracker and see what's possible, then definitely use this video. I am going to show you my spreadsheet, so I'll be showing my screen. You will need a free Google account, a free Gmail account, and then go into Google Sheets, which is also free, and start a new sheet. I wanted to film this video because I am frequently asked how I keep track of my net worth or what I use to track it. And I did used to use apps like Personal Capital, or I guess that's just a website, but I found a lot of issues with that. So with those, you're typically signing into your account through those platforms and then they are updating the numbers automatically for you. But there was one account in particular that I was having issues with. Like every single time it would fail to pull in the numbers, so I'd have to like re-log back in, re-authenticate it, and then it would work. But then same thing, a couple weeks later or a month later, it wouldn't work, so the data was inaccurate, and I just found that frustrating, and I find it easier to just keep track of everything myself by using Google Sheets. So this is a very manual process. Feel free to use Personal Capital or Mint, anything that works best for you, but I like having a little bit more control. I will also say that your net worth is your liability subtracted from your assets. So assets are things that are worth money to you. They are working for you basically. So this includes anything that holds value in your life, and even including your car and your house. So personally, I don't choose to count the value of my car in my net worth, but if you wanted to, you absolutely could do that. Same with the value of your house. Count that in your net worth if you want to. I like to count my cash, so whatever I have in my checkings as well as in my savings. I like to count what I have in my investments, so this would be my Roth IRA, my 401k, my brokerage account, any account that you have with money in it, whether it's invested or saved, then count that as an asset. And then liabilities are the complete opposite of that. So those are things that are negatives in your life, literal negative values. And this would be like your student loan debt, your credit card debt, your mortgage. If you owe money on anything, then that is a liability. The goal here is to have more assets, less liabilities, and therefore a higher net worth. And I think it's really important to track your net worth, and also very exciting. At first, it can be a bit intimidating or upsetting. You know, you may have a negative net worth, but that is completely fine. Most people start with a negative net worth. Eventually, you'll get to zero. You'll want to celebrate that. And then you'll get to the positives and you'll see your net worth will grow much faster once you are in the positives. I highly recommend you start tracking your net worth as soon as possible, even if it is in the negatives, because I promise you when it's in the positives, you will wish you had the data from the past, because it is such a cool story to see and a cool story to tell and just look at your accomplishments. So anyways, we're gonna go down to my spreadsheet. I know a lot of y'all probably already knew that information, but just wanted to put that in here in case. All right, so we are going to start off with a completely blank spreadsheet here. You can probably build what I'm about to show you on Microsoft Excel. However, I personally prefer Google Sheets. Excel is very similar, but I just think Google Sheets looks better. It's user-friendly. I like that it's accessible from my phone and I can pull it up anytime I want to from whatever computer I'm using or if I'm using my phone. Let's go ahead and give this a title. So it's gonna start by being untitled, and let's just say my net worth tracker. You can name it anything you want. You can also change that at any time if you would like to. We're gonna just go ahead and start off at the top here. I'll probably move some things around, but I'll show you how to do that. And you can either follow along with me while doing this or kind of watch things through and see what you would like to do. But let's just put the year at the top. and then we'll format things later. So we're gonna, bold some items, we're gonna make some cells larger, but for now, let's just get everything onto the sheet. First up, I'm going to list the months of the whole year, of course, and I'm gonna do this across the top. And for this example, I'm just going to put a few assets as well as a few liabilities, but if you have 10 assets, even 20, like whatever amount of assets or liabilities you have, you can always add more cells, add more rows to your spreadsheet. But for the purposes of this, I'm just gonna go ahead and put assets here and then give that, let's give it 4 spaces. We're gonna leave 1 space and then put total assets here because we wanna add everything up. And then we'll put a space between those and do liabilities, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, let's do total liabilities. Beneath everything, of course, we're gonna calculate our net worth. And honestly, this is the whole structure of what you are going to need. Now, something that I'm going to do is highlight this whole section. Anywhere that I'm gonna be putting values in, I'm going to highlight, go to format, number, and change it to currency. You can also, let me go back to that. You can also change it to any of these other financial numbers. So accounting, financial, I prefer currency because it would look how it is here. Or you could do currency rounded. When I'm tracking my net worth and doing anything with my numbers, with my finances, I like to have the whole number included, including the change. Some people prefer everything to be rounded, so you can change that. Something I also want to point out is that for me, I'm in America, so this is automatically in USD, but if you ever want to change the currency, you can easily do that by, again, highlighting all the cells that you would like to change. So let me just repeat that. You just highlight, format, number, and you can keep it on any of these, but you're going to want to come down to custom currency, and then you can literally scroll through all these or start typing in what you may need. So there's the euro, you can find pesos, which is very similar, but no matter where you are, you should be able to find your currency, and then that will change whichever cells you have highlighted. Super easy to start with, so I'm gonna go ahead and start formatting this. Let's make this a little bit prettier. I'm going to make this 2023 bold, so across the top is where you see all of your options. I'm gonna make this bold. I'm going to put it in the center, and then let's give that a larger text. Let's do 14. All of the months across the top, I'm also going to put in the center. So the horizontal alignment, put it in the center. I'm going to bold those. Let's make them a 12. Something I'm going to do is merge 2 cells together for each month so that it just looks a little bit cuter, flows a little bit together. So all you want to do is highlight the 2 cells that you want to merge and then come over to this merge cells button, click it, and then we do want to do a vertical alignment and put that in the middle. So we're gonna do that for all of these. You can come back and highlight everything and do that in a moment. So I'm gonna go through and just merge them first, and I'll show you how to do it all at once, saves you a little bit of time. Okay, and now we do want them to all look like this. So highlight all of these cells and go to vertical alignment, put it in the center, and all of them will do it at once. Let's put these titles in bold. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and increase the size of everything. I'm gonna increase the size of all of these as well. If there's ever a time where the text that you have written in a cell is not actually fitting in the cell, what you want to do is come to the top here until you see this double arrow pop up, double click, and it will expand to fit the longest text that is actually in that column. Now we're gonna start going through and I'm gonna make up some assets, make up some liabilities so we can start to see everything come together a little bit better. So let's say we have our savings, we have our Roth IRA, and we have our 401k. So these are just gonna be made up numbers for now. What I'm gonna do is like $9,000, Roth IRA is at $12,000, 401k is at 17,000. And notice that since I selected all these cells before, they are pulling in as currency values. Okay, now liabilities, let's say we have some student loans and then we have a credit card. And let's say the student loans are 20,000, credit card is at 4,000. Now what we want to do is pull in the total values for each of these. So your total assets is going to be equals. You're going to type in equals. And oftentimes Google Sheets will predict what you're trying to do. And this is correct, but in case yours doesn't show up, I'm going to show you what you would do. So you would hit equals and then type in sum, open parentheses, and then select the cells that you want to total. Hit enter, and then there you have it. That's the total of everything listed under assets. And in order to have this automatically calculate for every single month, all you need to do is select that cell. You're gonna hover over this little dot at the bottom. You'll see a plus sign. Hold that and drag it all the way across to December. And now, right now it says 0 for everything, but if we were to add in some data, you'll see it will start to calculate everything that you put in there. Oh, that was too high. Let's do the same thing with liabilities. So equals sum of these values. We only have 2, but I'm just gonna highlight the third cell in case we go in and add something later. And then same thing, hover until you see the plus and then hold down, drag across through December. For the net worth, remember that net worth is your liability subtracted from your assets. An easy way to remember that is assets is always first, which starts with an A. So equals your assets minus your total liabilities. And there you have your net worth. Again, same thing here. We're going to drag this all the way across. And this is going to pull in the correct data. So even though there's spaces between the cells, it's copying whatever was from here and it's going to associate it with the appropriate cells that it needs to. That's the magic of Google Sheets as well as Excel. We'll put some more numbers in here. Let's say the student loans went down a little bit and then you paid down a couple grand of your credit cards. So your net worth went up quite a bit. Now I do want to add some dimensions to this so things look a little bit cleaner. So I like to add in a little bit of color. You can do whatever colors you would like to. You just go click a cell or select multiple cells and go to this fill color and select what you would like to do. For all of these, I'm going to do a little bit of a darker gray. And then for the actual totals, I usually like to do a little bit of a lighter shade. So the totals, again, selecting all those cells. And then finally with your net worth, this one I'll keep darker to show that that's totaled out. And what you can do as well is make these all bold. I usually like to add some sort of formatting difference so that things stand out and you can see differences better. You can also put blocks around your data. So I will go ahead and do that here. Let's see how that looks actually. So you're gonna select where you want to put your boxes. And I don't like how this looks personally. So if you select this borders option and go to this all borders, I personally don't like all of that. And if there's ever something that you do and you're like, oh no, I don't like that, you do not have to go back in and try to fix it. Just hit the undo button and it will start you back over. So let's just put a outer border box around liabilities. And then let's do the same thing with assets. And also one more border around net worth. And then we can even border each month, which I think will look pretty good. You actually can skip every other month if you're doing it this way because you'll see that the borders hit both sides. So everything should be covered by doing it this way. Honestly, I'm fairly picky with the way things look, but you can mess around with how you want the lines to be. I'm gonna put it like that. Feel free to move things around as you would like them to look. But now we want to put everything into a chart, of course, so that we can see our net worth being tracked on a line graph, a bar graph, whatever you prefer. Now, I would like that chart to be at the top, so you could go in and insert some more cells if you wanted to. You can insert a row above and keep on doing that, but I'm actually just gonna select this whole area and drag it down a bit. So you'll select the whole area and you'll see a hand pop up, and that means you can drag it down where you'd like it to sit. Gonna leave enough room for a chart here. And now I do want this to have a line across the top. That will look much better. And before we can move this data into a chart, we need to put everything vertically. So right now it's all horizontal, and what we need is the months as well as your net worth. So let's go ahead and highlight all of the months, copy that. You can either Command C, Control C, but what we're gonna do is just bring it over here somewhere that it's hidden. It doesn't really matter. And then right click or double click, go to Paste Special, and then select Transposed. Now something you'll want to do is remove the formatting here because you want it to just look like regular text. This will not work properly. So just highlight this whole area, go to Format, clear formatting, and it should bring everything back to normal. And then what you want to do is pull in the net worth for every single month that you have, of course. So equals this cell, enter, equals this cell, which is with February, enter, equals March, and so on and so forth. Honestly, there may be a better way to do this. Y'all can tell me in the comments. Usually when well, the only other time I filmed one video on a Google Sheets tutorial, and I did get some answers to questions I didn't know, or like things I didn't know how to do. So I am pretty good at spreadsheets at this point, but there's still some things that I probably could do better. But this is what I know of doing this, because when you copy it over and transpose it, it doesn't always accurately work when the number here is being calculated. But yes, this is what we need here. So you want all of the months of the year, and then these numbers should be matching what you have from the large chart. So if anything gets added, let me add some more numbers. So this says 14,000, and this should also say 14,000, and that should be across the board. As you fill in anything for your assets, the total assets should be changing. As you fill in anything for liabilities, total liabilities should be changing. And as you're changing any of those, you should see the net worth start to change. Now let's make our chart. So you're going to highlight this data and go to Insert and go down to Chart. Now what's gonna pop up is probably something you don't want. So first of all, I'm actually gonna move it up to the top, since that's where we want it. Make it a little bit wider. Of course, you're not gonna want a pie chart for your net worth tracker whatsoever. So you're gonna come to this chart type here and select what you would like to use. So I do prefer a line graph. You could do a bar graph if you wanted to, so a column chart, or if you want it to be, they call these a bar chart from horizontal. But yes, I do prefer a line. I think this is the best way to track your net worth, at least in my opinion. But I know a lot of people also like the bar format. Now for the actual format of the chart, there are some things I like to add in here. So if you double click into it, if you ever, like if you exit out of this and you're like, how do I get back to that? Just double click into the chart and it will pop back up. I'm gonna go to chart and axis titles. So let's title it under the title text. Let's just say net worth, or you could do 2023 net worth. You can change the color of the line, going to series, change the line to whatever color you would like to. You can put in a trend line, so see where your numbers are going. One thing I don't like about, okay, so let me come down here. So for now, I'm going to actually delete these calculations, because what you're seeing here is it looks like everything's gonna be zero after that, and it's hard to actually get an accurate graph like that. So I'm gonna delete these, and what you'll want to do is as the month goes, you know, if let's say we get through April and you fill in your numbers, you're gonna wanna drag this calculation over one more month. So once April finishes, it'll calculate that data and add it back in. So actually, let me show that as an example. So let's say we go up to 12,000. I had changed some numbers around before, by the way. 18,000, and that was 0. So the calculation here is not pulling in. It's also not in the graph. So we want to come back to March, pull this over 1 month. It should calculate your net worth for you, and then now you can see your data for April as well. And then that way, again, let's go back into the chart. If you did want to put a trend line, you can see that, oh, it's gonna be going up, but I'm gonna keep that off for now. You probably don't need a legend. Horizontal axis, let's see, I wanna show y'all the ticks. Okay, so major grid lines, if you don't want these lines here, you can shut those off. I think they're pretty helpful, so I like them in there. You can do minor grid lines, so the little ones in between, I don't like those. Let's do some major ticks on the vertical axis, and you could do minor ticks on the vertical axis, but I don't love that. And then you're going to want to select the horizontal axis if you want ticks here. Let's do major ticks. One other thing you can change is how the months are formatted across the bottom. So if you go to the horizontal axis, if you ever can't find anything, just click on what you're trying to edit and it will pop up. So the slant labels, you can change which way they are positioned. So if you go to 90%, they'll look like that. Let's just keep it on auto. I think that looks pretty good. That's probably like a, I don't know, 60 degree. I don't know which way they're going. So yeah, but that's how you would edit any of that. You can also click here and it will pull in the vertical axis option if you want to make things bold, or let's make that bold. It looks kind of nice. Let's make these bold. Again, let's see what that would look like as a bar chart. So go back to setup or column chart. That's what it would look like as a column chart. And you can kind of mess around and see what is pleasurable to your eyes. But yeah, that's really it. That's a very simple version of a net worth tracker. The way I calculate my net worth is at the end of every single month, on the final day of the month, I go in and plug in all of my savings, my investments, and then have that pull into my net worth tracker, which is similar to this. You guys see it in my monthly updates. And to me, it's much better and easier than using the apps, just because I know that this is accurate, because I'm seeing the data. It's always pulling in because I'm in charge of it, and I prefer to have a little bit more control when it comes to these things. I know that's very basic, but that's how simple it is, and hopefully this was helpful if you are searching how to make your own net worth tracker on Google Sheets. Otherwise, if you're interested in just having a template to use, definitely check out my Etsy shop. I have a net worth tracker as well as a debt tracker, goal tracker, a couple of other things for you to choose from. If I missed anything important, or if you're looking to do something specifically, feel free to ask that down below. I will try my best to answer and support you in a way that I can. Otherwise, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.